occasion?
I think there's nothing to say really, other than let's just relax and enjoy the session. Because we want to hear from the younger people. I think we have a combination of the millennials and the Gen Zs on the panel. I'm willing to learn. I have sent in my own questions, because I work with them, I mentor them, and I know it can be very tough. Parents are complaining big time, So Njideka, over to you. Go do your thing.
Okay, thank you, PF. Hello, everyone who is excited for the interview we're going to have now. Who is excited? Who is happy that we are going to have the younger generations educate us on how to work with them? Who is? Yay, I see yays in the chat. Please feel free to say your mind. Feel free to invite your friends. Let them come and hear. Those that I will introduce now as the panelists, please invite your friends. Let them come and see you blow grammar. Let them come and see you teach us. So please, you have 2 minutes to invite your friends. We don't want anyone to be left behind. Okay. So my name is Njideka. My second name is Chika. So I've just been dishing the 2 names around so that people can call the one that is easy for them. And I'm zooming in from South Africa. It's such a great honor for me to be hosting this panel today. I am really very, very grateful for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to an exciting interview today. Today with me for the interview will be 4 wonderful young people. Not all young people will want to come in a forum like this. So please, as I mentioned them, please, House of Savior, in the warmest way possible, welcome these young people with fire or anything you can do to welcome them. Please welcome them. If you want to put your emoji hand claps, please do that so that we can let them know that we are together, we're a team. So my 4 panelists are, the first one is Emmanuel. Emmanuel, can you spotlight him, please? The second one is Omotola. Omotola, I can see you. Please spotlight her. And the third one is Stephanie. And then we have Tosin. Hello, panelists. Can you wave your hand to show you are happy to be here? Yes. One more person remaining. Okay. So you all are welcome to House of Savior. It is so wonderful to have you. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here. How do you feel? Can you see the chat is buzzing? They are welcoming you. We are so happy to have you. Sit well. Feel welcomed. Okay? We already feel connected to you, and we know we're going to enjoy this conversation. In our days, our parents used to call us to ask our opinion. In our days. So are we not wonderful? Please unmute yourselves and say that House of Savior is wonderful, please. Unmute yourself and say House of Savior is wonderful.
House of Savior is wonderful.
We are. We don't
everyone.
complain about things. We don't say we are too far from your thoughts. We say we want to bring you close so we can understand, so we can work together, because life is about handing the baton. But if we don't understand you, we'll be like a Tower of Babel, where nobody was understanding anybody. So you are welcome. I'm going to be your host today for this interview. My name is Njideka. Please feel very free. Are you feeling welcome? Are you feeling welcome? Nod your head.
Yes, thank you.
Nice meeting everyone. Yeah, so glad to be part of this today. Thank you.
Okay. Can I ask you, Emmanuel, how do you feel about being here?
Okay. Good afternoon once again. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I feel so excited to be a part of this. I mean, I just got a call about this a few days ago, And I was just, kind of like skeptical because this is actually the very first time I'm going to be on such a panel. And I feel so much excited and I'm so looking forward to the questions that will be asked today. But I feel really excited. I'm so glad to see some people and their faces here today as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. And on this House of Savior group, we have people of different ages. We have people of even in 60s, okay? But I understand, I hope that you feel very comfortable there. Let me ask you, Omotola, how do you feel with all the labels we have these days? How do you feel if someone says you're a Gen Z, or if someone says you're a millennial, you are a Gen Z? How do you feel about that label?
I don't do labels.
Okay.
That's the first
Okay.
disclaimer. I feel like, yes, categorizing people in age groups has helped in different ways, in understanding behavioral patterns and other patterns. But I also feel like it's not too far from people identifying as Scorpios and all the other signs and sticking to those signs. So I don't do labels. I do not appreciate being labeled. And I assume that a lot of other people do not also. However, it is what it is, Gen Zs, millennials, Gen Alpha, and somehow people have embraced these labels. But for me, I think that the labels do more harm than good because someone within the age group of the Gen Z, as we'll put them, listens to you talk about the attributes or the characteristics of an average Gen Z. And even if they're not already exhibiting one or two of those attributes, they feel like for some people with fragile egos, for some people without a mind of their own, they feel the need to be like, they feel the need to be in, they feel the need to fit into those labels that society has placed on them. So personally, I don't do labels. I don't encourage labeling. However, society has decided to label in the way that it does. So I say to people, when you meet someone in that age group and they say, oh, you're Gen Z, yes, they will Gen Z to you because you've already assumed an attribute or different attributes of them. And so they will live up to your expectations. Thank you.
All right, this is going to be exciting. We are being lectured already. House of Saviors, are you guys hearing? These guys, they don't want all those labels you are busy putting on them. But anyway, for the sake of this interview, can we just look at it as an age thing? Because in the labeling, it could also be that it's positive. It doesn't have to be only negative. Can we just look at it as an age thing, okay? So when I say Gen Z or millennial, whatever, I'm just talking about the age. Tosin,
Absolutely.
do you believe that when we categorize by age, that there are actually particular things that go with those age groups? Do you believe, like now, if I say it's a Gen Z, would you agree with me because you understand that Gen Zs are known for this and then the millennials are known for this? Do you feel like that?
Okay. I feel like already there are some things that the Gen Z people do that are seen as normal. That if the millennial does it, it's like strange. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So yes, I do feel like as a Gen Z and a millennial, there's a huge difference between the two of them. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now you guys are four. Two belong to millennial, two belong to Gen Z. Let's see what can happen now. Can I ask you to starting with Stephanie, can you tell me what your favorite things to do are? Your favorite things to do. You can just tell me 3 things. Okay, Stephanie?
My favorite things to do are to watch cartoon actually.
Okay.
I really
Cartoon.
enjoy watching
What,
cartoons. And yes.
what else? Just one
And
more.
I enjoy to listen to music. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Emmanuel, your favorite things to do. You can just tell
Um,
me two things.
yes, to watch football and to hang out with friends, to play games with
Hang
friends
out
as
with
well.
friends. Okay. You don't listen to music.
Of course, I do that a lot. I mean,
You do that a
on
lot.
occasion,
Is there a
basically.
day that goes without you listening to music?
I can't remember. It's almost impossible not to listen to music in a day. I
Okay.
mean,
So
sometimes
so
you
is
just,
that
yeah.
okay? Tosin?
I think one of the things I enjoy doing is I think I'm a very creative person. So anything to do with like video editing, um, graphic design, I enjoy doing stuff like that. I also enjoy listening to music as well, going out with friends and relaxing in general. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Omotola?
I enjoy reading, cooking, and sleeping.
Hey, now wow. Are you sure you're a Gen Z? I want to see your mother. Okay, what about listening to music?
Not really.
Not really. So you replace that with reading, okay? So is there any of you that spend time on social media?
Yes, I do.
Who doesn't spend time on social media?
Yeah.
You probably need
Okay,
to ask
Mm.
how much time, or put a time
so
We
is
stay
there
on
range to it.
is there a day that
Hmm.
goes that you don't visit your social media?
I don't think so.
Eh?
No,
No.
there isn't. There isn't. There
There
any
isn't.
isn't
day
a day
There are
because
that
days
goes by, right? Okay.
some days I don't.
Okay. So can I ask you, how do you perceive your mothers and your aunties, the ideologies and the way they see life? How does that work with the way you see your life? Do you look at them as they understand what's happening, or do you look at them as, yo, these guys are old school? Can I ask you, Emmanuel?
Hmm.
so for me, I mean, I see them in another world because things have changed, and there are some certain things that they will do that you just be like, you guys still do this stuff. And what's changed for me basically is the fact that before now, they tell you what to do, they'll tell you do this, do that, and then you just take whatever they ask you to do, you just take without even questioning it. But these days, I mean, we question whatever if they ask you to do some certain things, we question them that why are you telling me to do this? What's the implication of doing this? And I see them in another world because the lifestyle that they live, in their own days, it's different from what is available now. So yeah, it's a different world entirely because some of the advice they give back then, they are not available these days. So it's a different ballgame for them.
Tosin, do you also question your mothers and aunties, those people on that level? Do you question them?
Uh, I feel like in my own case, um, for my parents actually, I'll say they really improved a lot. So I can't really say that. I can't really compare them to the other um millennial parents, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like I can relate a lot more with them now. Yeah.
Okay. So when you question those other ones you say that are millennials, do they take your questioning well? Do they take it well?
I just feel like they don't really understand where we come from. Because the way we think as Gen Z is like so different from the way millennials think. Like I feel like, okay, how will I put this? We're more open, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like we're more open, we're open to other perspectives. But I feel like as millennials, they have this one particular way of going, and they don't like they're not open to new ideas. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say.
House of Saviors, are you guys hearing? You are not open to new ideas. Oh. You think it is, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be forever and ever. Be educated, receive sense. They say you should open your mind. Oh. Thank you, thank you. I'm enjoying this. So I want to ask you, what can you say is the biggest challenge that is facing your generation? So we have two generations here. So when I ask you, talk as it concerns you. I'll start with Stephanie. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing your generation?
Okay, I think the biggest challenge facing my generation is following trends. Everybody just wants to feel among, even though sometimes some trends might not be bad per se, or some might not be good, but some are actually bad. And I feel like trends is what I think is a really bad thing. You don't have to follow the trend every time and every time. Yeah.
In the group of your friends, when they start to follow trends, are you able to speak up and say to them, guys, must you? Are you able to tell them that?
I don't have friends that follow trends. No, I don't have
Okay.
friends that follow
So
trends.
you have chosen wisely.
Yes.
Okay. But when you see other people that follow trends, is it easy for you to say, say, that's not good, that's not right, that's not right? Because in our generation, we used to get involved. We used to say, hey, why are you doing this? I don't know if you guys are able to talk about those things now, because I hear a lot of people saying, you can't judge me. Who are you to judge me? No judging, judge not, and all that. So I just wanted to know about that. Are you able to tell your friends, oh, but this thing you're doing is not okay? Why are you being like this or what?
The people that I see that follow trends are people that are actually very far from me. They're not close. I can't say, oh, this is bad or this is not bad. So I'm just looking at them from afar, basically. So I don't really have a say, so to speak, because I'm not their friend. And they'll probably see me as somebody that is canceling them, or is like trying to judge them, or I'm trying to say that I'm better than them. So yeah, that's
Okay, so if somebody tries to correct you,
Mhm.
how does that make you feel? How do you receive that correction?
It depends on how the person corrects me. I feel like I'm a very calm person. So even if the person is shouting or passing the correction in a very negative way, I'll still try to take the positive thing out of it, like to actually take the correction and see if it's something that is bad, then okay, I'll make a change. But if it's something relevant, if what the person is actually saying does not make sense, I don't need to bother myself about what the person has said. But I think I take corrections pretty well because I like to improve every time. I like to be better. And sometimes I ask if I'm doing something that, oh, is this okay? Is this better? Is it as sure? Yeah.
Okay. So, Motala, what are the challenges facing your generation?
I think I can say a lot of things like the employment is between balancing. But I'll say that I feel like the biggest challenge is transition. A lot of millennials and even Gen Z are in an unending transition phase. So it's almost like it never ends. So this minute you're writing jam, you're writing your exams and you're trying to get into college. And then the next minute you're done with the exam phase and you're trying to get a job, you're trying to make a living. You're still trying to get your head around, you're still trying to grasp that. And you're watching your or you. I think that's something that we also don't talk about a lot. So it's an unending transition phase for people in this age group. They're watching things that used to be normal for them become not necessarily abnormal, but also not normal. They're losing friends to relocation, to migration, immigration, and everything like that. So there is an unending transition phase that happens for people in this age group that just sort of destabilizes them. And that's why a lot of people in this age grade try to find comfort in addiction and trends, you know, just to try to get comfortable where they are, try to feel like they're not missing out on something. I feel like it's all a problem of transition and transition management.
Wow. House of Saviors, are you guys hearing? I've not really, thought about this idea. I've never thought about it in this way, that the ongoing transition, losing friends and all that can also make people be forced to any kind of addiction because they're trying to get comfortable, they're trying to deal with all the changes. That is amazing. It's good that we're hearing this. Tosin, do you agree with what Omotala is saying? And you can also add your own. What are the problems facing your generation?
Okay. I feel like the main problem in my generation is social media pressure. Personally, because I feel like, okay, sometimes let's say I'm scrolling on TikTok now and I see something that catches my attention. The likelihood that I want to copy that trend is very, very high. So I just feel like people need to learn how to try and just be themselves. Because it's in the end, it's all about you. You can't always be what other people are. It's all about you in the end. Yeah.
Okay. Emmanuel, what are the problems facing your generation?
Thanks. So I mean, just in addition to what everybody else has said, I think for our own generation, there's a lot of so the influence of social media. I'll come start with that. You know, when you go on social media, you see people that are probably not even as old as you are. You know, very young people. They are buying cars, buying houses, doing different things, and then you are there thinking that you're not doing the right thing. See that you are not lucky or you are not serious with your life. So there's a lot of pressure online when you see your friends doing this, doing that, and then you are there thinking, what am I doing wrong? So because of that, some people that are not well brought up, that's where upbringing comes in. So if you are not being intentional about not feeling pressured, if you are not intentional about the direction that you are going to, the journey, and your goals in life, you feel pressured, and then you might be tempted to do what you're not supposed to do. So yes, the influence of social media is great, and then I'd just like to come from the angle of my profession, which is human resources. I mean, there are times where, when after interviews, you see people that are very, very young because they are very talented. You know, people that are even older than them are not even earning as much as what we get to offer them. But because they are very good at what they do, you will not want to use talent. So there's this pressure that people of our own generation feel that, okay, if this person that is not as old as me is earning as you know if the person that was, let's say, want to employ someone, I just want to create a scenario around that. So let's say we intend to employ someone for a particular role, and then the person is very, very intelligent and very smart and very good at what they do. Irrespective of whatever the person is asking for, we don't judge by, okay, the person is young, we now offer an amount that is lower than what they're supposed to earn. So because people that are older are not earning as much as what this young generation, what these new people are bringing on board, what they are, what we offer them. So it's usually very, very difficult to be able to, get that balance so that there won't be conflict in the workplace. So, and finally, the other part I would also want to touch is jumping on trends. So when something comes on board, everybody wants to feel among, everybody wants to stay woke, and without even considering what the influence would have on them. So let's say there's something trending on social media, you see young people, they want to jump on it, and they don't even mind if it's exposing their body or if it's something that is contrary to what the moral standard should be. So yes, peer pressure, feeling among, differences in pay structure of nowadays. Those are the kind of things those are the pressure that we feel from my generation.
Hey, House of Saviors, are you guys feeling what I'm feeling? Eh? I hope you're enjoying our panelists so far. I hope you're enjoying them. Please be right. Panelists, they're writing lots of wonderful things for you guys in the chat. Hey, they are very, very excited about how you're educating us today. some of the things that we don't even quite understand. But now, because of you guys, we are getting to know it. And I also appreciate my people, because if you are trying to deal with people that you don't understand, what kind of fool are you? So we're not like that. We are saviors. That's why we called you. There's still time for you, House of Saviors, to invite your friends to come and listen in, because this is actually very interesting, if you ask me. So now, you guys, you mentioned that there are lots of young people who are beginning to earn much more than older people, and even those who do a lot of stuff on social media, and they're very young. What do you think that has done to the way you see school? What do you think that has done to the way you see the school system? Do you understand my question? Omotala, you understand it. Can you answer?
So I think that before now, people didn't have as many options. Or even if they were unaware of the options before them. And it's changed. Also, realities have changed. I know that generations before us would tell stories of how they had people waiting for them on their convocation grounds to get them into one job or another, or how, there were just very few graduates in homes and those people had jobs readily waiting. It's changed now. People go to school for years. They specialize in something, and then they're out of school and they cannot find a job. They're either unemployed or underemployed. What this does to the person who is watching in the background is it gives you a moment. You get to take a step backwards and look at it. And that's why you see a lot of young people contemplating school. Is it worth it? Is it really worth it? Can I earn my skills in a different way? Do I have to go and study this and then come out? And why don't I just spend all those years investing in this area of specialization and owning my skills? So I feel like that's one thing, that the present reality of where we are, and the employment situation all around the world, because it's not just a Nigerian problem, all around the world, is one factor that has contributed to how people still see school.
Looks like our moderator is not around. Njideka, is she there? Okay, I think she's back. Maybe the network threw out. Okay, so let me just take a follow-up to the question, which I put in the chat box before Njideka resumed. So I'll direct that at Manuel. As the latest Quest to blow, your generation, you guys want to blow. I mean, Manuel worked with me. You are just an outlier. You're not like every other person. But I hear your generation, they want to blow. They are doing Yahoo. And it's become very, very easy to blow, really. You guys are the techie. Everybody wants to own an app, set up an app. How has that, affected the need to get a degree? Do people still want to, you guys want to go to school, or the quest to go back to school, has it really dropped, or is it still the same way it is?
Thank you very much, Pierre. So I would see it from two perspectives, right? If you have to look at the educational structure, especially in Nigeria, I think, so if I'm to answer your question directly, I think that's the place you need to get education to a very large extent. Why do I say this? As long as you have some very good test skills that international companies need, they don't need your certificate. I know people that they don't even have first degree and they are earning more than what managers of companies or big companies are earning. And that's because of the tech skills that they have. So, and the world of nowadays, everybody is on their phones, and because businesses understand why it's important to stay on social media, because that's where almost everything sells on social media now. So that's why they're investing in, the talents that have the skills that are necessary for them to be able to operate on those platforms. So as it is right now, you don't need a university degree to be able to earn, 6 figures, 7 figures from international companies, because that has even disrupted the payment structure here in Nigeria. I mean, you see some tech guys, they are earning at $5,000 in a month. And because of that, because those people that are earning that as high as that, it's not because of the certifications that they have, it's not because of the degrees that they have, it's because of the skills that are marketable right now. I mean, the people that are doing the likes of front-end engineering, UI, UX, web development, and also all those other skills. You can just go online, you can learn anything you want to learn on YouTube. Although there are times that you probably need to seek mentorship from some people that have been in that field before. But you don't necessarily have to go to school to be able to get those skills. And if you are very good at what you do, just go on LinkedIn, go on different websites for these international companies and apply. And then they won't ask you for your certificate. You're able to get those jobs because you have those necessary skills. However, the other side of it is people used to say school is scam, school is scam. I personally do not think that school is scam because as much as I personally feel that the courses that we learn in school, especially in Nigeria, there are things that we can do within 2 years. So they will extend it to 4 years and it makes it look like it's a long time. However, the trend right now is many people traveling outside of Nigeria, to seek greener pastures elsewhere. If you want to travel, the easiest way is through this education route. And if you don't have a degree, you can't travel. Although those people that are also doing those tech jobs, companies sponsor them to travel abroad. So it's like another route entirely that people can go through if they want to travel. So that's why I'm saying that it's actually kind of like dicey, because if you don't have those tech skills and you want to travel, if you have your degree, it's almost impossible. Except maybe somebody use you as dependent, right? But if you want to maybe be a tech bro or a tech sis, well, for now, what is obtainable right now, you actually don't need a degree to be able to and get those jobs that will pay you well. However, I feel that it's also important that one has, even if you're not even using it now, you don't know when it will be necessary. So I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And we're going to continue on that topic later. I just want to move a little bit towards this other area that has been stressing our generation and the older generation, and that's about how your generation is kind of exposed to blatant sex. It's kind of just sexualized life, and the nudity is down on steroids. How can I say it? Okay, let me start with the small one. How do you guys check girls these days? Like, how do you check? Do you check girls, or in our days it used to take time, and you can even go on a girl for a year too? Do you still write poems to check your girls? I want to ask the boys first, then the girls can also tell us how the men reach out to them. Do you still feel like that? Do you still do that? Please answer me. Don't worry if your parents are here. They want to know also.
Do you still?
Check. I'm saying check, not choke. Check.
Oh.
Or what do you call it these days? We used to call it check. When you want a girlfriend.
How do you ask a girl
What's the
out?
word you
Please
use?
don't mind
What's the word you use? What's the word you use, please? Unmute yourselves. The boys, unmute yourselves. What's the word you use now when you want a girl?
I'd like to go first, then I'll.
Okay. So, should I talk about myself?
Yes, now. Go on.
Okay. So I think for me, I'm a very straightforward person, should I say?
Oh yeah, I like that.
So, like I don't like beat around the bush. Like if I know what I want, I just go for it.
So what's the word you use for when you want a girl? When like when they say that person that you're going after this girl, what's the word you use? Nowadays they will say razzle or chike.
Babe.
What? What?
Babe.
Please spell it. I'm hearing it for the first time.
BABE.
To babe a girl.
Oh,
do you understand my question?
Like, wait, I don't understand your question.
Like now you've seen a girl and you want to go and tell her that you want her to be like your girlfriend or something. What do you call that? What do you call
Oh, you
that?
ask her out. That's you asking her
Okay,
out.
to ask her out.
Yeah.
You guys are not fun. No. You don't have a slang for it. I want to go and ask her
Yes.
out. That's good English now. Okay. So are you able to wait on a girl for a month or for a year to get her? Or do you just move on to the next person? Because in our days, a guy can come for the same girl, just keep writing letters, sending gifts, doing that. Do you guys have that patience?
No, me personally,
Oh.
I don't.
Nobody.
Nobody. I can't wait for that long.
Nobody has time to wait. I mean,
nobody has time. Nobody has time.
Nobody has
a lot of
time.
girls. If one
I'm
is
telling you, there's plenty more fish in the
move on
sea.
to
So
Many fishes
it's
in the
all good.
ocean.
yes.
As I'm saying, as you guys hearing, what's the fun of it now? You don't even want us girls to do guys more. Eh? Okay, girls, you can unmute. Are you enjoying the way the guys come these days? Are you enjoying their style? Because nowadays we have different kinds of styles. How the boys kind of come if they want to ask you out. Some are straightforward, but most will just do one thing like that, take time, da 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 da. Do you guys enjoy it?
In your days, you had to write letters and wait one month, 2 months to get responses. Or maybe some of you started when there was phone and you'd rationalize your airtime. Now there's no time for that. There is airtime, there is WhatsApp call. Communication is easier. And so it means that they are more accessible to each other, which also lets us go through countless talking stages. So when one person's head is not doing well, you move to the next on the line. And that's the culture. So I was listening to a song, I think it was last week, Talking Stage. That's the title of the song. You can look for it. It's by Kermone. And it just defines what the dating phase in this generation is like. So it's an unending movement. You stop here, the queue is not doing as it should. You move to the next, and you move to the next, and you move to the next. There is no staying power.
Sure. Do you guys hear? House of Savior, no staying power for our girls. Oh. No staying power for our men. Oh my word. Hey, people are doubting your age. Is that it for Motola?
I also don't think that girls want men to stay on them, because I mean, right now when people like you, they like you. Our parents were raised with shame in mind. So it is, oh, you like them, don't say you like them, because so that they will not say. But right now, ladies make the moves. They don't have to wait for the guys to make the move. So there is really no point waiting 1 year. Why you don't wait? How many years do you spend getting a degree? So why do you spend 1 year taking a lady, in your words?
Okay, let me go. Okay, Stephanie, what do you have to say on this, the dating style in your generation? What do you have to say about that?
What they've said is very true. Nobody has time to wait for anybody. And, there are a lot of halfway conversations because, it's very different from writing poems. Nobody is writing poems anymore. And it's not really anyways. So I don't really have much to say today.
Okay. So,
by the way, something we're enjoying that you guys are not, when we get asked in a grand way. Nobody's writing any letter. They're proposing with cakes, with balloons, with all the display and everything. So it's no longer, the pressure is getting worse. So for the guys, they also, and I feel like that's one reason why the guys don't stay and pursue one person anymore, because pursuing requires money. When the time eventually comes to ask, it's always really grand. It's no longer what it used to be. You have to go all out, because I mean, there is social media. People want to post these things, there is a community waiting to ask, how were you asked out? And so the person who is asking you out.
Okay, it's not me this time, right? It's not me. You can still hear me, right? Okay, while I'm waiting for Motola, I'm seeing this question on the group, and it's taking us back to the question we just finished handling. Not like we concluded it and said we are coming back, and it's about the school stuff. He said, how can parents with the traditional mindset of university degree for job safety support Gen Zers in their current versatile world? What do you think that parents should do to accommodate how the future is going? Can I start with you, Tosin?
Okay, so if I got the question right, you're asking how s- schooling affects our future, I'm guessing. Or could you come again?
Yes. Yeah. And so we can see how schooling is affecting our future, because most people don't think that you have to go to university to be successful. So how can there be support for parents who have that mindset that you must go to university to have job safety? Yeah.
Okay.
How can the parents of those Gen Zers, be guided to take the right decision to support their Gen Zers in the versatile world?
Okay, so first of all, I feel like with the whole school and degree and all that, I feel as if it's good, because it's those things that you can always fall back on, assuming what you want to do doesn't work out. So, but in the event that that's not the case, I feel like um as a student, if you want to focus on something in the future, it's best you find like a course that focuses on that aspect only, so that you can develop on that aspect, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Okay. PF, do you want to add an additional question to that?
Yes, yes, and I think I'll take that to Emmanuel. So Emmanuel, there are your parents. I mean, we are even like your parents now. We are from the traditional educational mindset. You've got to go to school, you've got to bag your degree, you go for masters. We're willing to even sponsor you to PhD level. Now, it's becoming tough. I mean, I work with parents, and they are always at a loggerhead getting your generation to even study. So you guys are playing games on your phones. You play, even if you buy your laptop, you turn it to a game center. Your parents are popping BP pill to say read, read, read. And even when you guys don't do well and your result, it almost looked like you're unconcerned. If I failed an exam, for example, I'm going to be crying for this. I'm not even, as in I'm not, but you guys just move on. And so that's causing a lot of challenge. What exactly is going on, and how can we assist you guys attain excellence? Of course, we have all agreed that maybe the school system is maybe outdated in so many. I mean, with ChatGPT now, I don't even know how you guys are going to be thinking, because ChatGPT is doing the thinking for you. So you are not even exercising the brain. So how can parents in our generation assist your generation balance your academics, at least to finish, and then maybe to stand for academic excellence?
All right, thank you. So first of all, I'd just like to say that having a university degree does not guarantee job safety. Every parent needs to understand that first of all, because there are people that are educated, they have degrees, and they are still struggling. Some people are okay, but there are quite a number of people that are still struggling, even with their university degree. I think what parents should do more is to communicate more with their children. Communicate with your children, ask them what do they want to do, what do they have passion for, and support them to go for it. Because, for instance, now there's someone that maybe there's someone that is in school right now, and then maybe the person wants to learn some other skills alongside. There are some parents that will say, no, focus on your education first. When you are done with your education, you can now you can follow your passion or learn whatever skills that you want to learn. I don't think that's a good approach, because it's possible for someone to learn a particular skill and then we combine that with education. So communication is actually very, very key. Have a conversation with your children. Ask them what do they want to do, because there are friends around that are doing different stuff, and their parents are supporting them in whatever they are doing. So I think that is very, very key. And I think God factor too is very, very key. You can't take away God from whatever you are doing. Children should be able to, support their children and encourage them to trust in God, because God helps a lot. And what I'm also going to add to that is yeah, I think those are basic things that communication is actually the most important thing, because if parents are able to communicate with their children and they are very free with them, expressing whatever information they have with them, they are able to know how they can be of help to them. So I think that's my answer to that.
Okay.
I would like to speak to that, Pierre.
Yeah, I'll come to you, and I want you to add something to it. And part of the challenges your parents are having, and I'll give an example. So Emmanuel knows this story. We hired a Gen Z one time ago our mother came to report her, so we said, okay, let's give her internship. So we put her at the front desk, right? And by 1 week, she walked to my office by herself, and she said, I want a 1 week leave. And I looked at her and I said, I'm not the one that gives leave. You don't even work directly with me. She doesn't even understand the org structure. And she said, Mr. Praise, I want to go on this leave for so reason. And she told me it was a confidential reason. And she said to me, I know you are a counselor and I know the code of your ethics is confidentiality. I don't expect you to tell my mom where I'm going, but I'm not going to come for one. You can't even stop me. I am going and I'm going to resume back here. The audacity, the effrontery. And I know employers are having problems. You guys, they can resume today, and by tomorrow they want to go for casual leave. They want to go for a friend's party. They want to, in fact, in Wall Street, they said that all the confidentiality stuff in Wall Street is being thrown to the wind, because you see Gen Zs and millennials resume at Wall Street. They are taking selfies, which never used to be. So confidential information are making it to. So what exactly, do you guys have something against us? Omotola, are you guys angry with us because you guys are called Sorosoke? How can we serve you? How can we become friends? So in addition to this thing that we are talking about.
Okay, so I think Emmanuel did a good job when he was talking about support. Well, I think that parents need to understand that while their children are children, they are individuals, and in some cases, adults. So you're talking about someone who is over 18. I understand that it is very painful for parents to watch their children make mistakes, but that's part of life. That's how you learn. And so if nobody is going to die, if it's not a mistake that will kill them, let them put their feet in water and let them take the deep dive. We overshield, we overprotect, we try to guide them, shield them from uncertainties, which is, I feel like, the biggest problem, because your shielding feels like restraint for your child. It feels like your child is in chains, and the natural response to being in chains is to want to break free from those chains. So every time that because you want the good for your child, you impose your opinions, you impose your decisions, you are putting chains of restriction on your child and giving them the responsibility. I tell my parents that I feel like it is my sole responsibility to fight restraint. So don't try to restrain me. I am very responsible. And to the second question that PF asked, how do we handle these people? There is no handling, because you have raised them and they have decided, in addition to the values that you have communicated to them growing up, they've also learned some more, and they've now decided to hold these things as their values. So the best way to go about it is raise your children from when they're like age 1 till, so when they get to this place, they don't have that. If you've raised your child with values of responsibility, with values of dependability, they know that they are to be responsible. They know that people are depending on them, systems are depending on them to work well. But if you keep shielding them, keep guiding them, they don't get to see the implications, the implications for their irresponsibility. And so they don't understand that there are consequences for irresponsibility. They don't understand that there are consequences for actions. And so they keep misbehaving, in your words. And you're like, so it's like you're the reason they're misbehaving, but you also don't understand why they're misbehaving. You need to give your children, let them off the leash, but still have the leash on their neck. Let them know that you will support them and love them in whatever they choose to do. And in that, you're also guiding. I also think that parents sometimes don't understand that they will not always be their children's best friend, especially at this age. But what you can do, the only thing you can do is to trust and believe and maybe pray. Add that one to your list, that they have voices of reasoning around them. They have people around them, uncles and aunties. And that's why for people who have younger children, surround your children with friends, your friends, uncles and aunties, like adults who are sound voices of reasoning. So that when things like this happen and your children are not listening to you because see finish or whatever, you're able to tell uncle this or uncle that, and they're able to get your children's perspective of life and explain that to you. Then you are able to walk through their perspective of life, perhaps come to a middle ground or something, but don't ever impose your decisions on your child, because it becomes their God-given responsibility to break free from those restraints.
Okay, I have one more question, Angelica, and I'm going to hand over to you. And that's for Tosin. One of the complaints from your parents, and we want to know, when we tell you to do something, we want it done right away, right? Maybe I'll take Tosin and Stephanie. We want it done right away, but you guys, if you say, do this, you say, yes, mommy, I've had, daddy, I've had. Then we come back, we can go for like 2 hours, and then it's not done. And it's not as if you are busy with your schoolwork. You just have your TikTok or you are chatting, or you are just chatting away, you're seeing a movie or playing games. And that is very, very irritating for many parents to deal with. So I would like to know what goes on in your mind when we say, let's say, do the dishes or do the laundry or whatever. And then you guys say, okay, yeah, I got you. Then 2 hours later, it has not been done. What is going on? Can you explain what goes on in your mind to us? And maybe the way we are saying it is what is wrong. How would you want us to say it so that you can do it immediately?
Okay. Well, I personally used to be guilty of this. Keyword is used to, not anymore. So I feel like, okay, back then, when I was still guilty of that, I felt like I wanted to do it at my own convenience. Like when I feel it's most convenient for me to do it. Because for them, they want it done immediately. But as I'm in that moment, like I don't feel ready to do whatever it is that they want me to do. So I think it's more of like a convenience issue. Like I don't feel like I can do this at this point. Maybe 2 hours or 3 hours later, I'm up to whatever it is that I want me to do. So yeah, that's just my own take on it.
Stephanie.
Okay, so I think that I don't like to be told what to do, actually. So most of the times when I know that I am supposed to do something, I already do it before I'm being told what to do, because it is more annoying when they tell me to go and wash the plate when I know I am supposed to wash the plate. So I do it before I've been told. But if it's an errand, for example, they want me to do something for them, I will most likely not do it immediately. But if I know it's important, I'll do it immediately. And if it's not important, if it's something that I can still do later, then I'll do it later. It just feels like it's disrupting your flow, actually. And errands actually annoy me. It really does annoy me, because sometimes it's not even convenient. You are doing something and then the next thing, somebody is disturbing your flow of what you are doing. It might not seem important to them, but
That
it's
somebody is
important to you.
also, we are the
I
somebody.
agree with you,
they want to stop
Stephanie.
you. Hey.
I
Do
agree
you
with
pay house
Stephanie.
rent? Do you pay rent? Do you pay school fees? We are disturbing your flow.
Like, why are you
Can
telling me
I
to
can I
come
just
and
ask
watch
you? Okay.
plates when I'm playing a live game with somebody in Germany?
Exactly.
So
Thank
I
you,
again,
mean,
thank you,
yes,
thank you,
like
to
thank
add to
you.
that,
That's it.
that's why most of us we always shy away from. I mean, I've stayed away from my parents for over 10 years now. When I back then when I'm at home, there are a lot of responsibilities. They don't come and do this, come and do that, and sometimes the way they even tell you to do them can be very very annoying. So the best approach
Mm-hmm.
is just to stay away from the house and just stay on your own, because when you're in your house, you can do whatever you want to do at any time. So I think the most important thing is the way that particular assignment is communicated. Because some parents feel that they are entitled, they can command you to do whatever they want to do at that spot. It doesn't work that way. Because you're a parent does not mean that you command us to do whatever you want us to do.
thank you,
So I
Emmanuel.
mean,
I
House
think
of
that
the
this
Savior.
one,
approach,
Hey.
the approach
House
that
of Saviors,
this
matters.
are you
one is so
hearing?
And
important
So we
because
are
a
yes,
lot
because you're a
of
parent,
stopping
you are
you.
not our
Okay.
Lord.
When it's school feast time, I will be playing game in Japan. I will also pretend as if I can't hear. But you
again,
see,
House of Saviors.
in addition to
House of
that,
Saviors.
Emmanuel, and
House of
Omotola,
Saviors. Listen.
yeah, someone is asking there, for example, that when it comes to prayer, for example, when we say come and pray, it's almost as if we are in Mars, you guys are in Pluto. Your eyes are open, as if you have no respect for God. We are speaking in tongues where you guys will just be looking. Your phone is with you. I don't even understand. What can we do? Is it that there's a new style of prayer that you guys understand that we don't understand? Okay, I need to know.
okay, I want to answer that one because it's very close home. So, with prayer, I believe that we told children to close their eyes when they were little to cut out distractions because kids had the tendencies to be very distracted by things around them in the environment. For me as an adult, I have 1,001 things going on my mind. And I feel like my mind is more distracting than my physical environment. So when you say let's pray, you will 99.9% of time find my eyes open. So yes, we're not disrespecting God. I understand that generations before us grew up with norms without asking questions. And the difference with this generation is that people sit down to question things that seem to be norms. And then when you just come to a conclusion that serves you, you realize that there is no point. Why do I have to close my eyes when the distraction in my heart is more than the distraction around me? I'm in the city room or in my room all the time, and I know where everything is. I'm not distracted by the environment in my city room. So why do I have to close my eyes, to pray? But again, when you people call us to pray and we run away, it's because you don't understand some things. On a side note, I stayed with my grandma for some months. And initially when she came to the house, my brother was around. And the first time she called us to come and do morning prayer. And then we came out of respect. And that prayer lasted 1 hour, 30 minutes. And then the next time she called, we came out, but we told her that it could not go beyond 1 hour. And then she tried and it stayed 1 hour. The next time she came, I told her I was in a meeting, and I was, even though I was instrumental to that meeting being fixed to that time, when the morning prayer was going to hold. And then my brother also told her he was doing something or something like that. And that was the end of that. So again, you need to understand that your children live in a generation where attention span is 0%. And so even if they try to join you in these family activities, because I like to call them family bonding activities like prayer time or game times, it is important that you tune in the situation or the environment to suit their style or to suit their lifestyle or to suit their taste. If your children would rather not sing worship, but would want you to play worship on TV, play worship on TV if it will make the prayer time better. Just communicate and reach compromises. That's what I would say about that.
So,
House of
in addition to that,
Saviors.
can I add to that?
God.
So personally, I mean, I think what I already answered, but just to add to what she said, we view things differently now, and we ask a lot of questions. I have personally asked my parents, why do we close eyes when we pray? Because I'm not even sure it's in the Bible, it's stated anywhere in the Bible. But the response they gave wasn't very, very convincing. I mean, we do a lot of things without even knowing why we do them. Do you get? So, I mean, it's we see, I see prayer as communicating with God, for instance. I believe I can pray in any posture, in any way that I want to pray, as long as I'm communicating with God. So, I mean, I think it's just a question of understanding why we do some certain things and, knowing the reasons for them, basically. So that's what I have to add to that. Thank you.
Okay, House of Saviors, I hope you guys are listening. I hope you're hearing. Somebody is asking, who is God to Gen Zers? How do you see God? What do you see religion as, or the spirituality? How does that work for you? Is it something that is alive for you, or is it far-fetched, or what? Let me start with Stephanie. Oh my God.
Okay. I grew up, my parents are pastors, so Christianity is not something that is far-fetched for me. But one thing that I really appreciate about my parents is that they did not force being a Christian on me, to be honest. Maybe they did their fighting with God in the prayer altar, because to be honest, I did not experience any constraints of, oh yeah, it's time to do this because I'm a pastor's child, or those normal cliche things about pastors' children. My life was not like that. I was not forced to serve God. I was not forced to do anything. So I'm very grateful for that. But then God to me is my personal savior. I, aside from the fact that my parents are pastors, I'm also attending the Christian university. So even though it can be very I don't know the English to use, but it might feel that things are very forceful here because we have to go for chapel service. We don't have a choice. We have to go, whether you feel like it or not. But thank God that I found God for myself. So I understand why it is important to go for services and things like that. So I respect God. I don't disrespect God. I don't take anything that has to do with God for joke. Even on social media, if I say anything like disrespecting God, no, I move away. I don't joke with things of God. Thank you.
Jideka, you are on mute.
Okay. Emmanuel, how about you?
So I think the question is, who is God to me, right?
Yes.
Right? Is that the question? Okay.
Yeah, how do you
So,
see God?
So I see God as the creator of the universe. I mean, there are some people that have that don't believe in God. There have been some scientific experimentation to prove that God exists or not. But I personally feel that God exists. I feel that God is my Lord and Savior, and I know that God has come through for me. So certain things. But there are some things that have happened to me, and then in my head I'll just feel that no, this is God. Like this is just beyond human comprehension. So I mean, people feel that going to church is you believing in God, praying, reading Bible, paying your tithe, doing all those things. But I mean, I view it from a different perspective. I personally do not feel that I have to be in church, every time to be able to, worship my God, to be able to communicate with God, and because that's what people have liking believing in God to Christianity or being a religious person. So it's actually a different ball game. So but for me, I mean, God has come through for me in all the things I've achieved in this life and everything that I've done. So yes, God is my Lord and Savior, and He's my helper. So that's where I see Him, and I can communicate with Him at any time, wherever I want.
Okay. Okay. So Gift is saying that she's a Gen Z, and for her, God is very important. And she has friends who also share the same belief that God is like best friend and someone you can just casually talk to. Okay. And I'm wondering if us, the older generation even see God as that. Maybe that's why we always insist on closing eyes, kneeling down, and all that. Meanwhile, you see God as a best friend that you can casually talk to. Another person also said, I'm a Gen Zer with Gen Z younger brothers, and with years of experience, I learned that it's best to give them a time frame for any chore. And if you have one or more children, siblings, share chores equally and lead by example. So you do also yourself. Example, you can say, Bimbo, please wash the plates. I washed it yesterday. So if you're the older one, you must show that you've also done, right? And then you can say, please wash it before 3 p.m. so it doesn't get too much. Yo.
I would like to speak to the God question a bit, Njideka, if you let me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'll say that who is God to the Gen Zs? And I feel like the reason why a lot of parents feel threatened is that their children ask questions that they never could have asked. And even till now, they've never conceived in their hearts to ask. And so it shakes them to the core. And the first question is, I hope my child has not left the fold. But if you worship the Christian God like I do, I like to say to people that God is not opposed to science and knowledge. And the beautiful thing about Christianity, and I'm speaking to Christianity because, I mean, that's my religion, is the fact that it is backed by evidence. It is evidence-backed. You know, if you don't have answers to their questions, if you don't have answers to the questions that your children are asking you about God, about religion, send them to books, send them to documentaries, send them to movies, send them to friends who are more knowledgeable than you are. I love C.S. Lewis and G.K. Chesterton a lot because they break down what seems to be like the everyday rigid Christianity to real life Christianity, where you're able to see things, you know, plainly. And that's what a lot of Gen Zs and millennials want. They just want to see that they're not following blindly. And in the Bible, when Jesus resurrected and, you know, Thomas was doubting him, he showed him his palm. So there is also that allowance, there is also that grace in Christendom for people who are in doubt to have evidence-backed or evidence-based following. It's not everybody who will, you know, be born into a Christian home and follow through with Christianity, or be born into Islam and follow through to Islam. Some people choose to carve their paths. And for me, I believe that, in fact, every parent needs to be responsible for ensuring that their children carve their paths, even in the religion that you know, serve, or the religion that you belong to. Because in that, you're ensuring a long line. It is like a decision that I made myself. It's not a decision that was forced on me. There is a sense of belonging, a sense of ownership, and it just guides them through life.
House of Saviors, did you hear? Are you hearing? Harmony is saying that I'm a Gen Zer who takes God very, very seriously, but I would love to know him for myself from the Bible. And it will surprise you how many normalized doctrines are unnecessary. Harmony. Okay, so she's going further because she was asked to give example, and she said it depends on your church. Many times we emphasize on things that make you look Christian, but don't emphasize on the weightier matters. For example, many elder Christians worry too much about ladies who do not cover their hair, or guys who do not cut their hair low, but none of these secure your salvation. A lady not wearing earrings doesn't mean she will make heaven. What do you have to say about that, Stephanie? Do you agree with Harmony? She's talking about some things that are made as if they are doctrines and it's not necessary. Do you agree with Harmony? Oh, Harmony is a guy.
I agree. I agree very much.
House of Saviors, are you hearing? because Gift also mentioned that for her, she sees God like a friend, but she thinks that the older generation view God like a very old person, like the way some adults are that you can't just talk to them anyhow. So I hope you are hearing this generation that telling us that because of the way we view God, we force them to also be that scared and, they can't open their eyes and talk to God. They must close it and cover their hair and all that. And maybe that's also why they choose to serve God the way they want to. Okay, so Ayo is mentioning that's okay. A lot of us parents grew up not questioning things. So the Gen Zers are growing up questioning things and wondering why this must be this way. So another person is asking, what is marriage to Gen Zs and the millennials? What is marriage? Omotola, someone says you are 45 years. Okay, so what is marriage to you? What is marriage to you, Tosin? What does it sound when you talk about marriage? How do you feel about marriage?
Okay. Marriage. Okay.
Okay, let me tell you a little
What?
bit. In our own time,
Okay.
we would look at, maybe I'm even so outdated, but let me say it, that's why I'm saying it. They always look at that the man should be much older than the woman, so that they expected that the man must now be working so that he can take care of the woman. Okay. And then the man will be like the head, and the head means he makes the decisions and he provides, and the woman must now do the domestic things and all that. Does that work for you? Did you see that in your parents? How do you view yourself when you get married?
Okay, so for me, I feel like marriage is number one, a contract between two people that they signed for life, basically. So I feel like there shouldn't really be duties dedicated to, like, separated for both genders. I feel like if whatever you can contribute, by all means do it. There's nothing like, the man has to be the breadwinner of the house. If your wife is the one making more money than you, you should be happy for her. There shouldn't be that element of competition between the two of them. You should, like, you're a team, basically. You should work together. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. What about you, Stephanie?
Okay. I think marriage is a very beautiful thing, but there are a lot of things that have to go into place before people get married. And it has been, what's the English? People don't understand that marriage is not just, it's not shallow, it's really deep because it was created by God. And there are a lot of things that people don't know. There's no knowledge. People have not, tried to get the knowledge of what it takes to be married. So people just get married and it does not work out and they just break up. So I feel like it affects we Gen Zs because people are scared to get married. A lot of people don't want, even relationships to say, people don't want to get into a relationship. They don't want to commit because they don't understand certain things. So in marriage responsibilities, okay, I think that they have responsibilities, but it does not have to be as assigned that, oh, I am the woman, I have to cook every day, or he's the man, he has to be the one to pay all the bills, that kind of traditional thinking. I don't think it should be like that. There should be shared responsibilities. And the woman does not mean I have to take care of the children alone by myself. No, he also has a part to play. I have my part to play. Everybody should bring something together and share it as evenly as possible. And we should also get knowledge about Christian marriage and things like that, get counseling and a lot of materials, positive materials for marriage. Thank you.
Okay, so now we mentioned something about communication, and I want to ask you, how do you think that technology has affected you guys the way you communicate? And before you answer me there, I just want to read what Gift said. I personally wish to get married because my parents are great examples, but this generation marriage seems scary because of all the divorces. And like right now, so many people rush into things because of pressure like people are cohabiting with each other without being married because they do not want to be tied down. Marriage is a two-way thing and God should be involved. So Gift is saying that she thinks that your generation are not able to stay long in marriage. Do you agree, Emmanuel?
Yeah, I completely agree because if you look at the statistics, I mean, it's obvious. Like the rate at which people divorce now, it's crazy, and that's why people of our generation are actually very, very scared of getting married. Because for me personally, I'm not scared because my parents, I use their marriage as a very good example. And because of that, I also look forward to getting married. However, I mean, the world is actually a very stressful place, and if you are living doing this life alone, I feel it's actually going to be boring. So it's always important to have someone that you can spend your life, you can do your life with, and spend the rest of your life. So I agree that there are a lot of people that are scared of getting married, and that's because of what's happening nowadays. There's a lot of expectation, a lot of pressure on different people to achieve certain things. So, you know, personally, I see marriage as a beautiful thing, which I look forward to. But at the same time, I'm kind of less skeptical about it. This is what
Hmm.
to do. Yeah, so
Okay. This interview has actually, I think we should have awarded more time for this, and so that more parents can also ask questions, but maybe we can do a redo. I must really thank you all. You've talked so well, you've spoken so well, freely, giving us a lot of insight. And I know that lots of parents are going to go home and think about some of the things you've mentioned today. You have saved the lives of their relationship with their children. So thank you for being so generous. We're about to finish, but I just want you to think about your final thoughts as we conclude. I'm going to go around for of you to ask for your final thoughts of how best you think our generation can communicate in the families so that we can relate better with our children and your generation that surround us. Okay, so House of Savior, please get ready your thanks as we wrap up because the time is almost well spent. We are so grateful for the wealth of wisdom we've received from you. So I had questioned, what do you think that technology has done in the way you communicate? So as you're giving your final thoughts, you can also, when I go around now, you can also just include that so that we can wrap up and hand back to Mosumola, the MC. Let me start with, okay, I'm just seeing Tosin here in my face. So Tosin, maybe I can start with you.
Sorry, could you please repeat the question? I disconnected for a second.
Okay. I am saying that we are wrapping up now. We are
Okay.
concluding now. So I'm going to go
Okay.
around to the four of you. When I get to you, what I want you to say, the question I had
Okay.
asked is, how do you think technology has affected the way you communicate? So when you talk about
Okay.
that, you conclude by giving an advice to our generation and the older ones on how best to communicate with their children and your age group so that we can live in harmony. Do you understand?
Okay.
So let me give you time
Yeah.
to think about it. Let me rather move to Motola.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to quickly touch on the instability that Gen Zers or millennials, that trait that we portray sometimes. And I would like to say that a lot of times it's a problem with how they grew up. So you have parents who have no problem with uprooting their children and placing them in schools. So some people have done 5 primary schools and 9 secondary schools. When your child gets into career or marriage, there is also that need. They feel the need to uproot their lives also. That sense of stability is no longer in them because they've done it over and over again and it becomes like a norm for them. On communication, I like to say that times have changed, people have changed, parents are also embracing technology in a way that is applaudable. But I'll say that for your children, if your children like pressing their phone during WhatsApp, Text them. You want to communicate with them, text them. If they prefer calls, call them on the phone, even if you're in the same room and they're in the room. Instead of shouting, Tade or Tayo, just pick up your phone and call them. Send a text message, send a WhatsApp message. Find the means of communication that best favors your child and follow through with it. Are you still doing, we need to talk? Number one, a lot of people in this generation avoid confrontation. So we need to talk. You've already lost a child. So just look for what worked for your child, the communication line that best works for them, and embrace it. Learn it. It might not be easy, but learn, embrace, and grow in it. Thank you for having me.
Wow. Yeah, I'm thinking of that one. There is something one-on-one does. There is something face-to-face does. We want to see you. Look into our eyes. Let's know that you are there.
I know that there is also the face-to-face thing. There is the need for connection. And that's why compromise is key. You're coming to meet them on line 70 or point 70. And then from there, you can take it 60, 50, and get it to the place of face-to-face. But start where they're comfortable and then move it to the desirable, which might be face-to-face in your case.
Omotala, are you sure you're not 50? You're coming here to be
I'm
forming
60. I gave my Lawrence.
Maybe you are even a teen coach. Maybe you are even a teen coach. You're coming here to form small girl. I will find out. I will go and check you out. Thank you so much for that wonderful word of wisdom. I really appreciate it. So the next person is Emmanuel.
For me, I mean, I think social media has done a great job in enhancing communication because the way the world is structured now, I mean, there are different people, different siblings from different parts of the world, and they're able to communicate. If you want to talk to someone every day, it's possible based on the application that we have available in our current generation. So speaking to how parents can interact with their children more, I think it's very, very important that whatever approach that you are using to communicate with your children, it has to be in a very respectful manner because everybody deserves respect, irrespective of if you're my father, I'm your child. I also deserve some level of respect. Because the way some parents communicate with their children is actually very, very horrible. And because of that, they always shy away from, even interacting with them. So, and sometimes some people will feel that if they go home, their parents will want to kill them with responsibility. So I think parents should try and create that enabling environment, whereby children are happy to come back home. Because some people, they are just waiting for their school to resume so that they can leave the house and just move away from wherever their parents are because of the kind of work they send them. So parents should try as much as possible to make house very friendly and very welcoming for them so that when their children travel, they are very happy to come back home and spend some time with them. So thank you so much for having me. I feel honored and I thank the organizers of the meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. When you guys are busy saying all these things that we must do for you, some of us are scared. We are like, all this dangerous trend of pleasing the child, pleasing the child, pleasing the child. What about you guys? How will you please us also? Somebody's asking on the group. But I think that what Motala also said explains it, which means that we're not going to just do exactly what they want, but we can be creative enough to start where they are comfortable till we get to where they're desired. So I think it's that question of us also reviewing how we were brought up and how it can help us with this generation. Tunde Richard says, I'm a grandfather with two beautiful granddaughters and my son has been married for 10 years now. It was a fusion of the old values they learned with the modern themes. Communication must carry real values for all generations. Okay. Yeah, everybody deserves respect, Jamie says. Then Gift is saying, please, okay. Okay, Gift, you're asking what was the question? We said two things. One, how technology has affected communication. And then what one advice are you going to leave for us so that we can be able to work with you, your generation better? You're fine now, right? So I'm going over to Omotala. So just, no, Stephanie. I'll close with you, Tosin. Stephanie?
Yes, I think technology has affected communication in a very positive manner because, it has made communication very easy and very accessible to most everybody. And one way I think that parents can make their home more peaceful is to have a very open mind. Even though open-mindedness does not mean that you don't have boundaries or you don't have values, but you should be open-minded and not be too myopic or too holding tightly to old traditions and things like that. And also, one thing I noticed that older people think that having a easier way to do something means that we're lazy. It does not mean that we're lazy. No, the world is actually a better place now. Things have been made, processes have been made easier. There are lots of things put in place and a lot of technology put in place. So using technology to make something easier or doing a certain thing in an easier manner does not mean that we're trying to cut corners or we're trying to be lazy. So I think parents should be more open-minded and they should also try to listen
Yes.
more to what their children are saying. Thank you.
Parents, are
Thank you very
you
much for
hearing?
having me.
No. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Then Tosin, we end with you.
All right. Okay. So I feel like technology has really helped communication in a lot of positive ways because as you see, work smarter and not harder. Mhm. So if you know that there's an easier way for you to get something done and it's not as if it's illegal or something like that, by all means go for it. And in the aspect of parents, I feel like parents should try and be more open-minded. They should listen to their kids more, let their kids express themselves. And because honestly, I feel like one aspect that parents lack is the fact that they believe that there's only one way to get things done. And I, as a Gen Z human, I feel like there's always going to be more than one way to get things done. There's always an easier way. And if you can find that easier way, by all means, go for it. So yeah, that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Wow. Please, I don't know how to do this. Let me just be clapping first. Let the chat room set ablaze with praise for these young people. We have been educated. I have been educated. Somebody saying older people think having things easier don't miss. Yes, yes, that is true. We want to see you use power. Let's know that you're hardworking. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know that the House of Saviors want more of you, but we have to actually close because we've been talking and you guys, well done. Well done. Thank you for being stable on this call, for just giving us your wealth of wisdom. Wonderful. I've enjoyed so much. I wanted to list all the things, but I don't have to. I'm sure parents, you made your own notes. You made your own notes. We've been educated. Thank you. All the best to us all. We'll start from where is comfortable for you till we get to the desired place. Thank you so much. Thank you, House of Saviors. Thank you, PF. I now hand over to the MC of the day, Muslim Moller. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. It's been an awesome session. Well done to you, Indideka, and well done to all the panelists. I really don't have to ask you how the session has been because I know it has been mind-blowing. But just because I just want to get feedback from you, I want you to go into the chat room and just tell me how has this session been.